Hello guys, welcome and welcome back to my channel. I am Thlologelo Rampa, aka Kokobela Mahlega, aka Mama Bogele. Yes, I think that's all. I actually didn't know how I was going to do this, but anyway, hello you guys. As you can see, I am in a different location. I am currently at the clinic in my office and we are on call this weekend. So I just said to myself, okay, fine. My husband is currently doing a surgery, and I was like, okay, I think I can maybe record for like about 15-20 minutes to at least update you guys and keep this thing going. I really do want to come back to my YouTube. I will be looking a little bit here because I've got the camera on. I've got a live feed for the cameras that we have here in the building because we are doing an on-call weekend this weekend, meaning that all the emergencies in Harvey Bay are coming to our clinic. So just in case somebody pulls up, then I would be able to stop this video and go attend to them. So if you see me looking on the side, maybe I should put it here. Yeah, let me put it here because then I will not look on the side. Yeah, so it's been a busy weekend. It's just a little bit quiet now because obviously I cannot go do the surgery or help out much because my husband is working with a nurse. So I was like, okay, fine. I was going to be doing some paperwork, so I decided, okay, fine, I do have a bit of time to then come and see you guys on the side of town. So last week I wanted to upload a video. Last week I was not at work. I was able to get a day off on Saturday. One of the nurses decided to come in, so I was like, okay, fine, I can stay home. I then recorded a video, but when I thought about it, I was like, I did not feel it. I did not feel like I was in the, I think maybe because I was not preparing myself to be off on that day. In my head I was still on work mode, like concentrating on the clinic. So when it didn't happen, I was still kind of trying to adjust to that. But anyway, I did record a video. I just did not like it, so I just told myself, you know what, Thlologelo, you're not gonna put out such. So I was like, okay, fine. So yeah, I just did not do that one. So I decided, all right, fine, let me try again this week. And I do know that it is busy. As I said, we're very busy this weekend, but I'm just dealing a couple of moments. And I just told myself, if I just do it one time where I don't have to then come back to edit and all of that, and I'll get into learning how to record without the need to then edit in betweens, because sometimes there are things you say or you burp or you do something snacks that you need to cut out, so it takes a lot of time. So yeah, that's that. So yes, I am in the clinic today. We've been here the whole day. What time is it now? Oh, the clients are here. Okay, so I am back. I had to attend to something in the front. There's something also coming in now, so I'm hoping that at least I'll have 15 minutes, please, I beg. Anyway, so the reason why I am doing this video today, for one, obviously I want to slowly come back to YouTube and find it within my schedule to make time for YouTube. There's a lot that I really want to do on this channel. I always say this. There's a lot that I really feel that I need to do on this channel to help people. I'm still trying to sort it out and figure it out because life is so busy. Life is a wishy-washy and a washy-washy, but it is all good. Anyways, yeah, it's been good. It's been great. There have been so many changes in my life. I've spoken about this briefly a little bit in my previous video, but yeah, I wanted to talk about what has been going on, because there's just been so many things happening. But for one, I know a lot of people know me as a social worker, because I relocated to Australia as a social worker. But at the moment, I'm not practicing as a social worker anymore. This does not mean that I will not be helping people who are then social workers looking to relocate to Australia, because obviously I have done the process. I know about the process, and I would be able to help people and advise them on how to go about doing their skills assessment and getting jobs in Australia. And I'm actually glad, that I'm where I am at the moment in life, because I am able to see things in a different light. I'm able to see life in a different light. So even with, I think, my knowledge about the whole relocation thing, I start to see it in a very different way. Reason being, at the moment, we've got a clinic. So it is very hard to get skilled people within the country, within Australia. That's why migration is a very huge thing in this country, and they are really needing a lot of people that are skilled and qualified to do a lot of work. The veterinary industry is one of those, social work as well. As long as your qualifications and your skills are ranked top as the highly sought skills here in Australia, it is usually a straightforward process for you to get a visa. The only thing you need to do is to just make sure you tick all those boxes, and you do what needs to be done in order for you to come into this country. So at the moment, obviously, we're looking at, okay, fine, when we get to the point where we are able to grow our business, and when we're looking at all the plans and the goals that we have for this business, one of the things that we need to consider is staffing, meaning that we need to look at, okay, what are we working against and what do we have? The good thing is that now we've got, this channel, we've got access to people who are in the veterinary industry that are looking to relocate to Australia. But now we are in a position where we are able to, look at possibly sponsoring people, which is one thing that I'm very excited about, because I think I've always wanted to be in this position where I can be active in helping people to relocate and being in a place where it's active, man. I'm actually doing it, where I'm part of that process, where I'm not then referring people to say, go try here, go do this, but we would then be doing it ourselves. So we'd be obviously advertising for jobs, and then if you're unable to get people in this country, then the government would allow us. It's a long process, it's a huge process, just like everything, but it's something that I'm excited to go into and see how it goes, because then when I come back to you guys regarding advice on how to get sponsored jobs, I'll be coming from two spaces. One being having had the experience of being sponsored. My English just left the window. Just left out, but it left the window. It went out the window. My English got depleted, you guys. Like, it was like better low. Anyways, so what I'm trying to explain is that we would have experienced both sides should we end up having to sponsor people to come in. So we're looking at getting vets, people who are veterinary surgeons, these things, yes, veterinarians. Yes, we're looking at getting veterinarians, so vet surgeons, vet nurses, vet technicians, and all of that. So once we get to a place where now we can see, okay, fine, the business is growing and we need to advertise, obviously it's going to be a long process, but there are a lot of things that we need to tick also, like there are a lot of boxes that we need to tick for the government in order for them to allow us to then sponsor people. But I'm just excited that we will then know, when I come back to you guys to give you advice on relocation and sponsored jobs and all of that, I would have then done it on this side, having had also relocated to Australia through sponsorship. So I would also be having that first-hand experience. So I'm really excited about that, and I thank God that I'm in this position at the moment to then be able to be more hands-on with people's journeys. At the moment, yes, obviously it'll be for people who are in the veterinary industry, because this is where I'm at right now. But hopefully it is something that I'm able to grow into, where I can help people also in other industries. I might not be maybe hands-on within other industries, but we never know. We'll see what God allows us to do. But yeah, I'm quite excited about where I am in all honesty. It was not planned. It is absolutely something that I did not plan at all. I'm a social worker. I always say this. I'm a social worker by heart, by spirit, by everything. And the last time I practiced as a social worker was in 2021, before I had to go back to South Africa to then do my TWASO, going to attend to my spiritual calling. And I used to be angry at God and my ancestors, because I felt like they had taken away so much from me last year. Like, I was without my family, I was without my identity as a social worker, like I was stripped of everything. But I always remember that, sometimes when God and your ancestors want you to focus on them fully 100%, because there's a certain thing that you have to go through, or there's a certain transition, or there's something that is coming in, they will take away all these things that would be, that you would be focusing on, that would be taking up your time and your focus, and they will take those, and not in a negative manner, but in a way where they are trying to have you focus on what the goal is and what you have been assigned to come and do here in this planet. So I really did not understand it at the time. And I remember earlier this year, I wanted to go back to work so bad, and I'm like, I'm a social worker. Oh my god, they're back. Okay, I'm gonna have to go because we've got clients, and I'll be back. I'll finish the discussion when I come back. Hopefully I do not forget my train of thought. Okay, I am back. I'm gonna try and wrap this up real quick. Anyways, yes, so what I was trying to say, you guys, is that, sometimes when there's something that is going on in your life and you're stripped of everything, because I always believe that, when God and your ancestors want attention from you fully 100%, they will strip you of everything that you have attached your identity to, right? Because last year, fully 100%, me, I was mom, I was a wife, I was a social worker, I was all of that. I was a YouTuber, I was helping people to relocate, and all of that I had to give up. And I did not give it up easy. Like, it was not something that I just was like, okay, fine, it's okay, it can go away, it's all good. It took a very long time for me to actually accept. It took a very long time for me to accept it. I've been running up and down. It took a very long time for me to accept it. It took a very long time where I was angry at God and my ancestors. I'm like, Mina, why did you choose me for this? Like, what did I do? Why did I deserve this? But once I got to the point where I understood the assignment, I was like, oh, okay, I understand why I'm going through what I'm going through. And after my tour, so I honestly believed that, okay, fine, I've done what my ancestors and God have led me to do. It's okay. I've done my bit. I should be all good. I should be fine. And then earlier on in the year, I was like, okay, fine, I'm going to be going back to work. Life is going to go back to normal. Like, I'm done. I've done my dues. I'm all good. But I always knew that God had a different plan for me. I did not think I was going to be in this business as much as I am at the moment. I did not think I was going to be a practice manager. When my husband and I were having a conversation about this, I was like, oh, you could find somebody who would be doing that, because obviously I did not know much about the veterinary business. I only knew what my husband would have taught me in the conversations that we were having. My husband had this thing where everywhere he had worked, he would always want me to be involved. So when we were back in South Africa and we were dating, married, I met my husband when I was in grade 12. So then I went to university. But every school holidays, I would always spend my school holidays with him, where I would be going to work with him. So I would get to see kind of like, maybe, I don't want to say secondhand, firsthand. Yeah, I'd get to see what the job entailed and what it was all about. And it was fun for me, but it was just more of like, okay, I'm just going to work with my boyfriend or husband at the time. So it was just that. And then when we relocated to Australia, he was no longer doing more farm work. He was then based in a clinic doing small animals, right? So your cats, dogs, chickens, guinea pigs, all of that. But one thing that he used to like doing was, every time he had the opportunity, he would be like to me, no, come in. And the people here are very nice, where even if you are a partner, you are able to go to your husband's work and they will allow you to go to the back and have a conversation with them. You end up building relationships with people that your partner is working with, as if you're even working with them. So every time I would go see him at work, he'd be like, oh yeah. And he would have this thing where he would show me things. He'd be like, look at that. Do you see that? Look at how that is done. And at the time, I didn't understand what he was doing. But it was only when we sat down to then come up with this whole idea of having our own clinic, where I got to see what he was preparing me for. So, which is great, which is awesome. Now we've got our own thing. Amazing. Hallelujah. Glory be to the Lord. But I did not think I was going to be this involved, because I did not know much, I did not think I knew as much as I needed to know about this. But anyway, when the time came and things unfolded the way that they did, I was like, okay, maybe I'm being led to be in this space. And I thank God also. But at the time when it was happening, I did not see it for what it is at the moment. So earlier on this year, so I came back from South Africa in November last year. And then I was on unpaid leave at work for a year. So my leave was going to end in January, right? So in my head, I was like, okay, yeah, no, fine. I've done everything. My leave is going to end in January. I'm going to go back to work. So now I have to go back to work. Abelungu. I no promise. You need to submit this and this form for whatever reason, and we need to assess this and this and that. And I'm like, okay, fine, no problem. I submit whatever documents that needed to be submitted. But all the time, I always knew that I'm not going back to that place. But I didn't want that because I wanted to go back so bad. I was like, I want to go back to my normal life and what I used to do. Yes, fine, we are going to open this business. I will be helping my husband, but I still want to do my social work stuff. So work was just being work. It was very hard for me to get, like, okay, how do I put this in a fair way? Because yeah, it's one of those things that I don't want to say it's hard to explain, but I don't want to explain it in my understanding of things, because I was supposed to go back January, and then I had to do all this paperwork and all of that. And then I did the paperwork and they were like, no, it's not good enough. We need more. And then I had this back and forth where I had to then do this assessment, do that assessment, go to this appointment, go do this, go do that. And something kept on saying to me, promise resign. Promise resign. But I'm like, me, I want to be a social worker. They're like, well, promise resign. So I then started looking for other jobs within the social work field. So I was like, okay, no, me, I'm going to be a social worker. I want to work as a social worker. So I applied for other jobs. I applied, I think, for only 2 that were in Harvey Bay at the time. And then I got interviewed for the job. First day of interviewing me, they were like, you're the person that we want. And then they were like, okay, fine, we want to do references. They were like, okay, fine. But then still, I did not get the job. At the time, I was angry because everything had gone well with the interview. But God will always make sure that God will make sure when this door closes and this door closes, it's because those are not the doors that we were supposed to go into. But during that time, because I had held on so much to the fact that I don't want to let go of the fact that me, I'm a social worker. Me, I did my whole master's degree for this thing. I have a whole bachelor's degree. I have a whole honors degree and a whole master's degree for social work. I need to be a social worker. I'm holding on to my social work. I've been unemployed for 3 years in South Africa as a social worker. Finally, I'm in a country that is allowing me to be a social worker. Now I'm not a social worker anymore. I didn't understand that. But I was sitting down one day, I think I was talking to my doctor. And then I said to my doctor, I just had a moment to remember that our journeys are not always linear, right? And sometimes it's almost like our life is like a puzzle piece. And I think I'm saying this because I've put this thing on a puzzle piece, on a puzzle box. But sometimes you might not understand why you are supposed to run with this one piece, and you have this one piece in your hand. Because when you're looking at the puzzle, it does not fit anywhere. You know that it is part of the puzzle piece, but you don't know where. You don't know where to locate it. So one day, that time will come where it's like, oh, this is actually where it fits in. And I saw that in my career as a social worker. I studied to be a social worker because I am a social worker by heart, by spirit, by everything. By calling 100%, I am a social worker. I love helping people. That is my thing. I love it when I see people doing what they are supposed to be doing in this world. I love it. And I love being part of that process. Eli, what is animal team? Promise speaking. All right, it is the on-call phone ringing for emergencies. So I'm going to have to go. But anyway, what I was trying to explain, where was I with this thing? Yes, what I was explaining is this. I had a conversation with my doctor, and I was telling my doctor, I sat down with myself and I said, we need to figure this out. And I prayed for a very long time and I said, God, please make it clear. I need to understand, what are you trying to communicate to me? What is this? Why are you telling me so much to let go of this? Because I don't want to. And something came to me and said, because the purpose that it was serving has ended for now. And I'm like, okay, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? So I figured that, there are some people, where you will study to be a medical doctor but end up not even doing anything in the medical field. And there are many ways to find what it is that you need to do in this planet. And sometimes you need to go study, or you need to go do this, or you need to travel the world to delay you or to prepare you for something that you are then going to be entering into, right? And I saw it as that. If I had not studied to be a social worker, I would have never relocated to Australia as a social worker. I would have never been able to learn what I have learned about this country. I would have not been where I am right now if it was not for my social work. So it was the vehicle that I was renting, or that I had purchased, or that was driving me to be where I am right now. And just like a car, sometimes you have to let it go so that you can buy a new one. And at the moment, I'm in a new car. And it is because of all the memories and everything that, you will always remember. I saved a very big deposit for this car. It was my very first car after university. There's so many sentimental things that you might have attached to a certain thing, like a car that you would have been driving you in this life. But in order for you to get into your next blessing, you need to let that go. So yeah, it was very hard for me to let go of being a social worker. In all honesty, I cried for the phone. All right, guys, I need to go for real. So anyways, it was very hard for me to let go, but I have, and I'm now where I think God has assigned me to be for now. It was scary in the beginning. I'm slowly getting a hang of it. I know I'm not going to be a practice manager for long, forever. I've got more plans with my life. But I'm going to be in this role for as long as I am needed in this role. But I'm very excited about where my life is right now. I'm in a very good space also. Yo guys, I'm in a very good space. I am in a very healthy space. Like, my life is just, it's been so good. And ever since I accepted the fact that, you know what, me, I'm a sangoma, and I accepted it, because in the beginning I was really struggling with it, but once I got to the point where I was like, I've accepted this. So when people come to me and say, Promise, we need to come and have a conversation with you, we need a consult, we need this and this and that, I'm okay, and I'm more free in doing it. Like, it's not that thing where I'm like, it's just this person wants to do this, I'm okay with it, and it flows. It comes from a very good place, and I'm like, I'm actually loving this. I'm in a good standing with my ancestors, with God, with myself, with my family, with my loved ones, with my friends. It's been really good, and I'm really grateful for that. But yeah, I think I just wanted to come back to my channel to keep consistent. As you can see, life is busy. I have a very busy life, but I really am fighting to come back to this channel, and I cannot wait to see what we're going to grow into. But yeah, my biggest thing that I'm very excited about is the fact that we are going to be active with the whole relocation thing. There are a lot of things that I want to do with this whole relocation thing. Also, I'm still trying to work it out. I've got this one friend of mine, you guys. She's a nurse. She's a nurse, and she's helping nurses with their registration. So if you need any information about it, if you're a nurse and you need assistance with how to register with is it the AFRA or something like that, but the Nurse Council here in Australia, she's the person to go to. She does have a charge. She does charge for her services, but it's better to pay for something knowing that you are getting the right information and you got that support. Also, I always encourage people to, seek help. If you cannot afford it, then you have to take the long route. But if you can afford it, I think this would be a very good service for you. So if you need any information about it, follow me on my social media. I'm on Instagram, on Facebook. Let me see the camera. The phone has died. Yeah, I'm on Instagram. I am on Facebook. I just need to see the camera because I'm waiting for people to pop up in the front. Just give me 2 seconds. I just need to make sure that I know who's in the front so I can attend to them. All right, it's all good. Nobody has come in. All right, yeah. So I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I will have my handles and the links to it down below on my description. So follow me on Instagram because that's where I would post a lot of things. Also follow me on my Facebook. You can also follow the Relocate to Australia with Promise Facebook page. I'll try and keep it up as updated as I can. And yeah, I'll be putting that information on my social media. Feel free to contact me if you're looking for that information on how you can get in contact of this friend of mine. I'm just not too sure if she's okay with me then saying her name. This is actually the girl that I've been talking about in most of my videos. She's a nurse from South Africa and she's on her way to Australia. She's already now registered as a nurse. It has taken her, I think, about 2 years now that we've been talking. I love her spirit, how she has persevered, and one thing that I know that you're going to be getting from her services, she's experienced this so badly. Like it's been a horrible experience for her, but I always believe that, you know, sometimes you need to be baptized in fire in order for you. But then yeah, some of us are always just baptized in fire. So she was baptized in fire when coming to her registration in Australia as a nurse. So she will have the do's and don'ts 100%. So I feel like she's one person that you guys need to get in contact with if you are a nurse, or you have a family member that is a nurse, or you have somebody that is interested in relocating to Australia as a nurse. She is the person to have a conversation with. So do contact me. I will have a conversation with her to see if maybe she'll be okay with me giving out her details then on my YouTube. Then I will give you guys in my next upload. So anyways, you guys, I'm gonna have to love and leave you. It's going to be a very crazy night. What time is it now? It is like almost 6 p.m. I don't think we're going to be leaving this clinic anytime soon. We'll probably sleep here. Not really, but we'll probably leave late because we've got another emergency coming in. But anyway, I just wanted to do this with you guys, and then I will see you in my next upload. Bye bye, take care.